Hey everyone, and welcome back. We're diving into something pretty amazing today, the world of giving and humanitarian aid. And, it's a lot more diverse and fascinating than people might think.
Yeah, it really is.
We're going to be looking at the 2022 talk by President Dallin H. Oaks
Okay.
of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints as our guide. But we're going to branch out from there. We'll be exploring all sorts of inspiring stories from all different kinds of places.
Yeah, I think that talk is a great jumping off point for a much broader conversation.
Yeah.
It really highlights how much good is happening all around us, often in ways that we might not expect.
Right. And just to kick things off, get this. The Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints spent almost $1 billion
Wow.
on humanitarian aid in 2021 alone.
That's amazing.
$906 million,
Wow.
plus over 6 million hours volunteered by its members. And that's not even counting what individual members give on their own, which is probably a ton.
Yeah, that's incredible. And what's really fascinating is that, President Oaks doesn't just focus on what his own church is doing. He really emphasizes cooperation,
Right.
working with others who share the goal of helping those in need. He even quotes one of the apostles,
Okay.
that's a leadership position in the church, who said that God's work is too vast, too arduous for any one group to handle.
I love that. It's like, hey, we're all in this together. It really opens up the conversation to all the amazing work being done outside of organized religion, which is something we don't always see or hear about.
Absolutely. And that's where I think some of the most inspiring stories come in. President Oaks shares examples of individuals and organizations from all walks of life who are stepping up and making a real difference.
Okay, I'm ready for some inspiration. Hit me with a story.
All right, how about this? There's a Sikh couple in the UAE who run this incredible operation out of their temple. Every single weekend, they serve over 30,000 vegetarian meals to anyone who comes through their doors, no matter their religion or background.
30,000 meals every weekend. That's mind-blowing. I can barely get dinner on the table for my family some nights. What drives them to do so much?
Well, they believe that everyone is connected, like children of one God, and that serving humanity is their core purpose. It's a powerful reminder that that compassion can come from anywhere and go beyond any boundaries we might imagine.
Yeah, it's really inspiring to see, how people from all walks of life find ways to give back. It kind of makes you wonder, what small act of service really resonates with you. Have you ever been struck by something like that?
Oh, absolutely. For me, it's the stories about individuals who overcome incredible hardships and then dedicate themselves to helping others who are going through similar challenges. It's almost like they turn their pain into purpose.
Totally. Speaking of inspiring individuals, the talk also mentions Dr. Zahir Salul, a physician who founded something called Med Global. What's that all about?
Med Global is incredible. They organize medical professionals to volunteer their time and expertise in crisis zones around the world. Dr. Salal himself has provided care in the Syrian war, putting his own life at risk to help those in desperate need.
Wow. It
Yeah.
takes some serious courage.
Yeah.
Talk about putting your beliefs into action. It makes you realize how, skilled professionals can use their talents to offer relief in some of the most challenging places on earth.
Exactly. And sometimes the most impactful efforts come from those who have experienced those challenges firsthand. They bring a unique understanding and empathy to their work.
Okay, I'm definitely getting chills over here. These stories are amazing.
Yeah.
But it makes you wonder why we don't hear more about these everyday heroes, right?
Yeah, that's a great point, and it's something that President Oaks addresses directly. He says it's crucial to recognize and appreciate the good being done by people outside our own circles, outside our own bubbles. We can get so caught up in our own lives that we miss the incredible work happening all around us.
It's like we need to expand our definition of giving and open our eyes to the different ways people are making a difference. We might even be surprised by what we find.
Right, and I think this talk is a great reminder to do just that.
So we've been talking about giving in this broader sense, but I'm also curious to hear more about the specific things the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints supports. It feels like there's more to the story than people realize.
Oh, there definitely is. President Oaks dives into some initiatives that might surprise those who aren't familiar with the full scope of their work.
Okay, I'm all ears. Give me the inside scoop. What are they up to?
For example, they're very involved in promoting religious freedom, and not just for their own members, but for everyone.
That's interesting. How do they go about doing that?
Well, they advocate for the right of all people to worship according to their own beliefs, regardless of their faith. President Oaks even quotes Joseph Smith, the founder of the church. He famously said that they claim the privilege of worshiping Almighty God according to the dictates of our own conscience and allow all men the same privilege, let them worship how, where, or what they may.
So they're really big on religious freedom, not just for themselves, but for everyone. They even quote Joseph Smith, the founder, who said everyone should have the right to worship how they choose. That's a pretty powerful statement on freedom of conscience.
Absolutely. It's about creating a world where everyone can live their faith openly and without fear, which is something I think we can all get behind. And beyond religious freedom, the church is involved in a whole range of humanitarian efforts that often go unnoticed.
Like what? Give me some examples.
They're heavily involved in disaster relief, providing aid and support to those affected by natural disasters, like earthquakes and tornadoes. They also have initiatives aimed at combating racism and promoting equality.
Wow, I didn't realize they were so active in those areas. That's pretty impressive.
It is. And it doesn't stop there. They support disease research, provide resources to help people with disabilities, and even contribute to efforts that promote music and a positive environment.
It sounds like their work touches on so many different aspects of human need. It really challenges the assumptions some people might have about the scope of their efforts.
I agree. It's a reminder that there's often much more going on beneath the surface than we might initially perceive.
So this is all super interesting. But do they connect these efforts to any specific teachings or scriptures? I'm always fascinated by how faith can inspire action.
They do. President Oakes brings up a passage from the Book of Mormon that's a sacred text for members of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. It describes a people who are committed to helping anyone in need, regardless of their background or affiliation. They didn't differentiate between, those in the church or out of the church. It was all about serving those in need.
That's a beautiful concept. It speaks to a sense of universal compassion.
Yeah. Exactly. It suggests that the act of helping others transcends any particular belief system. It's about recognizing our shared humanity and extending a hand to those who are struggling no matter who they are or where they come from.
It's a powerful message, and one that really resonates with me. But I know we've only scratched the surface here. Can we dig into some more specific examples of giving and explore what we can learn from them?
Absolutely. There's a particularly striking story about a man President Oakes calls Mr. Gabriel that I think you'll find incredibly moving. So, Mr. Gabriel, as President Oakes calls him, is a refugee himself. He's been displaced multiple times because of conflicts in his region and has seen firsthand the challenges faced by kids in refugee camps, especially in East Africa. Hundreds of thousands of children, their lives turned upside down, their education put on hold.
It just breaks my heart thinking about what those kids have gone through. Being a kid is tough enough without having to deal with all that.
Exactly. And Mr. Gabriel saw that these children needed more than just the basics. They needed hope. They needed to keep learning and growing. So what did he do? He didn't wait around for someone else to step in. He took initiative and organized something he called tree schools.
Tree schools. I'm picturing classrooms under the shade of a big tree. Am I close?
Spot on. He gathered other teachers from the refugee community, and they started holding classes for these kids right there under the trees. No fancy buildings, no formal resources, just a pure desire to teach and help these children thrive.
Wow, that's incredible. Talk about making the best of a tough situation. It really shows Mr. Gabriel's resilience and his dedication to these kids' education.
It really does. And think about the impact. Thousands of children have received some form of education because of his efforts. He's given them a sense of normalcy, a chance to learn and grow even in the midst of so much chaos and uncertainty.
Okay, this is where I get a little choked up. It's such a beautiful example of how one person, even when facing huge challenges, can make a real difference in the lives of others.
Absolutely. And I think stories like Mr. Gabriel's really highlight President Oak's point about how diverse giving can be. It's not always about big institutions or grand gestures. Sometimes it's about individual initiative, resourcefulness, and a deep love for humanity.
So true. It's about taking a look around and seeing where you can make a difference, big or small, in your own world.
Exactly. And sometimes the most powerful actions come from those who have experienced hardship themselves. They understand the needs of others on a deeper level and are driven by empathy and a desire to give back.
So we've heard about the Sikh couple providing meals, Dr. Sellel offering medical care, and Mr. Gabriel setting up those incredible tree schools. Each story is so different, yet they all share this common thread of selfless service.
They do. And I think it's important to point out that President Oakes doesn't present these examples as if every act of charity is perfect. He recognizes that good intentions don't always guarantee positive outcomes.
That's a really important point. It's about being thoughtful. recognizing that good intentions don't always lead to the best results.
Exactly. But even with all the complexities of human actions, these stories show us the incredible capacity for good that exists in people and organizations all over the world.
So if we step back for a minute, what's the main takeaway here? What does President Oaks want us to understand about giving and helping others?
I think the core message is that giving can take so many forms. It goes beyond religious boundaries, cultural differences, and economic status. It's about recognizing that every single person has worth, and then responding to their needs with compassion and action.
And he seems to be encouraging us to look beyond our own little worlds and see the good others are doing, even those who might be different from us.
Absolutely. He challenges us to broaden our understanding of service and to appreciate the many ways people are making a difference all over the planet.
This is so inspiring. But how do we take all this inspiration and turn it into action? It can feel a bit overwhelming knowing where to start sometimes.
That's a great question, and I think President Oaks offers some guidance on that. He reminds us that even small acts of service can create a ripple effect.
I like that small acts ripple effect. It makes it feel doable, less daunting.
Exactly. And he encourages us to look for opportunities to serve within our own circles.
So it's not necessarily about flying off to another country or donating huge sums of money. It's about starting right where we are with what we have.
Precisely. It's about those everyday acts of kindness, compassion, and generosity that, when multiplied across a lot of people, can create real and lasting change.
What are some concrete examples? What are some ways we can actually put these ideas into practice in our own lives?
Well, think about Mr. Gabriel. He saw a need in his community and used his skills and resources to address it. It might be volunteering at a local food bank, mentoring a young person, or simply helping out a neighbor who needs a hand.
Those are all things most of us can do, no matter our circumstances.
Exactly. And never underestimate the power of simply being more aware and appreciative of the good being done by others. Acknowledge their efforts, share their stories, and let them know their work matters.
That's such a simple but powerful act. It can boost morale and inspire others to get involved.
You're right. And remember, even a small gesture like a kind word or a listening ear can brighten someone's day and have a positive impact.
This has been such an eye-opening conversation. I'm really feeling motivated to find ways to contribute and make a difference however I can.
That's great to hear. And President Oaks emphasizes that these efforts aren't just about helping other people, they also enrich our own lives.
I can see that. There's something truly fulfilling about helping others. It gives us a sense of purpose and connection.
Absolutely. It brings us right back to the Book of Mormon passage President Oaks talked about. It describes those who helped others as being liberal to all, regardless of their background or beliefs. It suggests that true generosity involves being inclusive and being willing to help anyone in need.
That's a beautiful thought. It reminds us that compassion doesn't have any limits. But I'm also curious about the specific ways the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints is putting these principles into action. What are some of the things they're doing?
Well, President Oaks highlights some of their lesser-known initiatives that might surprise those who don't know much about their work. And some of these efforts really challenge common assumptions about the Church's focus and priorities.
Okay, now you've got me really intrigued. Tell me more. What are some of these initiatives?
For example, they're deeply involved in combating racism and promoting equality, which might surprise those who have a limited view of them.
That's really interesting. I think that side of their work often gets overlooked.
It does, and it's just one example of how their efforts go far beyond what many people might expect. They're also actively involved in supporting research for diseases, providing help and resources to people with disabilities, and even contributing to things that promote music and a positive environment.
Wow, their work is so diverse and impactful, it really challenges the idea that they're only focused on their own members or specific religious goals.
Exactly. And President Oaks emphasizes that all these efforts come from their faith and their desire to follow the example of Jesus Christ, who is known for his compassion and service to others.
I'm starting to see a theme here. Whether it's individual kindness or large-scale humanitarian efforts, it's about recognizing our shared humanity and responding to the needs of others with love and action.
You're absolutely right. That's a message that resonates across cultures, beliefs, and backgrounds. It's a universal truth that we're all connected, and our actions can make a difference in the lives of others.
Okay, I'm feeling inspired and ready to take action, but I also know that real change takes time and sustained effort. It's not about one-time acts of charity. It's about making service a part of our lives.
You're absolutely right. And President Oakes talks about that too. He encourages us to be anxiously engaged in good causes and to make service a natural part of our lives. He even quotes a scripture that says, men should be anxiously engaged in a good cause and do many things of their own free will and bring to pass much righteousness.
I love that. It's a call to action, a reminder that we all have the power to make a difference in the world.
Exactly. And he makes it clear that this isn't about being forced into service. It's about finding things that matter to us and then taking action from a genuine desire to help.
It sounds like he's advocating for a more proactive approach to service, one that goes beyond just responding to immediate needs and extends to creating lasting change in the world.
You got it. And he connects this idea to another powerful concept, agency. He reminds us that we have the power to choose how we respond to the needs we see around us. We can choose to ignore them, or we can choose to be part of creating positive change.
That's a powerful reminder. It shifts the focus from feeling obligated to help to recognizing our own power to make a difference.
Exactly. It's about embracing our agency and using it to build a more just and compassionate world.
This conversation has been so insightful. I feel like I have a whole new perspective on charitable giving and humanitarian aid. What's one final thought-provoking question that President Oakes leaves us with, something to really ponder as we go forward?
He asks a simple but profound question. What small act of service can you do today to make a difference, inspired by these examples?
Wow, that's a powerful question. It really brings it all home, doesn't it? It's a reminder that we don't have to wait for like some huge opportunity to make a difference. We can start right now, even with something small.
Exactly. And remember those ripple effects we talked about. Even the smallest gestures can make a big impact, inspiring others to pay it forward, creating a chain reaction of compassion.
So wrapping up this deep dive, I think the key takeaway is that giving comes in so many forms. It's not just about donating money or volunteering time, although those are important too. It's also about those everyday acts of kindness, compassion, and generosity that we can, weave into our lives.
That's right. And it's about recognizing and appreciating the good that others are doing, both in our own communities and around the world. We can celebrate their efforts, share their stories, and let them know that their work matters.
And it's about remembering that we're all interconnected. Our actions, no matter how small, can have a ripple effect that goes far beyond our immediate circle.
Absolutely. President Oak's talk reminds us that true giving starts with respecting human dignity and recognizing our shared humanity. It's about helping those in need regardless of their background, beliefs, or circumstances.
Well said. This has been such an enlightening conversation. I feel like I have a whole new understanding of the many ways we can give and make a difference in the world.
I'm so glad to hear that. I hope this deep dive has inspired you to look for those small acts of service you can do today and every day. Remember, even the smallest gestures can have a huge impact when we all join in.
Thanks for joining us on this deep dive into the world of giving. We hope you've gained some new insights and are feeling inspired to make a difference however you can. Until next time, keep exploring, keep learning, and keep giving.